All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. I do got to say, this is the largest registration we have seen, so we want to see a lot of participation. We've got a great topic and great speakers for y'all. But first, we'll go through some quick housekeeping. So please note this webinar is being recorded. So just want to give you that disclaimer there. Everything you say, we are looking at in the chat. We really want a lot of participation in the chat and in the Q&A. So as you come up with questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, in the Q&A. Make your voice heard. We want to know. We are here to provide this information to you. And most importantly, have fun, right? Like I said, we've got a large group. Get to know your fellow DTUC members. This is going to be a good time today. We do also want to hear from you in our post-event survey. So we do have that goes out at the end. Pay attention when you leave this webinar. That post-event survey link will be there. Please fill it out. We want to know how we did and get some other information from you guys about topics you might want to see in the future. And 2 lucky survey participants will get a $25 Amazon gift card for their participation in that survey. So please fill that out. And just a quick reminder, we do have another webinar on the calendar for February 25th, where we will be talking about Lunar Lake. So I know that is another large topic of interest. So please tune in on the 25th, same time, same place. And it is on dtuc.com/events if you have yet to register. But without further ado, I just want to do a quick introduction of our speakers. We've got 3 great speakers for you today. We've got James, Jocelyn, and Matt, all from Dell Technologies, all true pros. They are here to answer your questions. Now, with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to launch right into our first poll question. So if you could please fill out this poll, I'll leave it up for just about 30 to 45 seconds, but we want to know, which UEM are you using? And these responses are flying in. Thank you, everybody. All right, as I see them start to slow down a little bit, I'm going to end the poll and share the results just so we can all see what this group has going forward on this presentation. So as you can see, we've got about 44% that are using Intune, 9% SCCM, 36% that are co-managed between the two, and 11% on the other. So with that, I am handing off the rest of the presentation to our wonderful speakers. Y'all, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Let me go ahead and pull up the slides. All right, hopefully everyone can see that. And again, thank you for that intro. Excited to talk to you all today about the Dell Management Portal. And to kick us off, the Chief Product Owner, Jocelyn, will get us started. Over to you, Jocelyn.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Jocelyn Thompson. I'm a product manager at Dell Technologies, and I'm really excited to introduce you today to the Dell Management Portal and Microsoft Intune. This integration was launched last year in October, and it was designed to simplify and elevate your PC management experience directly within Intune. So as we were seeing that more and more of our customers were adopting Microsoft Intune for device management, we saw a great opportunity to develop and launch an integration between Dell Technologies and Microsoft to meet you where you already are and to better enable our vision here, which is to provide a best-in-class device management experience for your Dell fleets. And with this integration, we're excited to bring new capabilities to you without you ever having to leave your Intune environment. So in the initial phase of this product launch, we had 3 key objectives. First, we wanted to make your lives easier by unifying access to Dell services and software within Intune. And our goal here was to enable more efficient workflows and less disruption for you, minimizing the need to toggle between multiple consoles and resources. Also, by integrating Dell's services and software solutions into Intune, this partnership underscores Dell's commitment to delivering industry-leading solutions to our customers in the places you're already working. And third, through this integration, we hope to drive a greater awareness of our software and services to make it easier for you to find and adopt them in your daily operations, ultimately improving your end-to-end management experience. So we're really excited to bring this new management portal to you to simplify and improve your work. We'll be sharing some really great features today currently available in the portal. And we're also already looking ahead to future capabilities we have planned on our roadmap for the portal, like continuing to improve efficiencies for you, enabling AI computing, and surfacing information and capabilities within TechDirect and other Dell tools. So we hope that you'll use the survey from this webinar to give us input on what you'd like to see on our roadmaps as well. So a lot to look forward to here.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Jocelyn. So then next up, I'll just give everyone a quick overview of what the portal looks like and some of the key features, and then we'll kick it over to James from Dell IT to give us a live demo and walk us through the product. So like Jocelyn mentioned, the portal is all about just simplifying how IT admins manage Dell PCs from the cloud. And the key part is in conjunction with Microsoft Intune. As you all saw on the poll, either it's all Intune or co-managed, but we recognize that's where everyone is and we want to meet them where they're at instead of giving them, separate portals to jump through. And so with the Dell Management Portal, there's kind of 3 key features highlighted. First one is just on security, and that's just by servicing BIOS passwords and BitLocker keys to make it really easy to access those when you need them. And James will walk through how to do that. And then the second piece is just helping with that fleet management and providing some basic information that's super helpful to see for all your endpoints, whether it's the device name, the service tag, or enrollment type, and how much storage they have left, or if they're on Windows 10 or if they've moved to Windows 11 yet. Just having a really easy place to look at that information from the portal can be super helpful. And then lastly, just making it an easy end user experience for our IT admins. You can kind of think of the management portal as the Dell App Store, where you can view all of our manageability apps. And then with one click, you can shoot them over to Intune and not have to do all those manual scripts or writing those uninstall and install commands. You now just have that easy button to publish right over into Intune, and James will walk us through that. So that's kind of the overview of the portal. And then wanted to show everyone how you can connect in case you want to do it while you're on the call today. Really easy to get to it. You can either go to manage.dell.com or you can go through Intune. It's in the devices section on the left-hand pane. And if you scroll down, it's under partner portals and you'll see that Dell Management Portal there. And then if it's your first time, you'll just hit connect now. And then you will need a GA level access to approve access to the portal. And then from there, you're off and running. And that's what James is going to show us here in a second. And then lastly, before I turn it over to him, just wanted to show you briefly the current apps on the Dell Management Portal. So here's a list of all the manageability apps at Dell. We're trying to make it easier to find those by putting them on the portal, and the ones in green are the ones that are live today on the Dell Management Portal that you can easily publish over to Intune with a couple clicks. So with that, I'll stop sharing and turn it over to James.
Hey there, James Hammy with Dell IT. It's a pleasure. I know there was a question in the queue how many people are on. We've got almost 300 folks on the call right now, so it's building. Let me share my screen. Okay, it should be coming through here. And so you saw some intro slides into the management portal, kind of a high level what it looks like. You saw just a picture of some of the permissions, the API permissions that get accepted to, and then someone with GA rights allowing the app registration to land in your tenant. With that, what you get, so what we're staring at here is once you click connect, you'd be presented with the landing page here, the dashboard, to show you. What we're looking at here is our test environment to show you how many devices you currently have managed, the applications that you're deploying by way of the management portal. So I want to kind of drill through a few levels of benefit that you'd get out of this. We'll start with your tier 1 support. So if we take a look at the devices that we have managed, Elvis is always he's always a good start. If we drill into Elvis's system, your L1s who they So they may be familiar with PowerShell. They may not be comfortable with making graph calls to dig out a BitLocker key or a BIOS password. And you may not want to give them something like, carte blanche Intune admin rights to be able to dig up BitLocker keys for anyone, everyone, everywhere, plus everything else that comes with having Intune admin rights. So you may very well want them to leverage the Dell Management Portal to get access to those specific things that will help them in their day-to-day job, such as we need to be able to get into the BIOS and change maybe the hard disk setting from RAID to AHCI. Just enabling your L1 support to be able to come in and take a look at, okay, I know for this device, his current password is this. And if they were in BitLocker recovery mode, in the same portal, being able to see, okay, here's the recovery key to give to the user. And at the same time seeing, well, okay, we've got a legacy device that is in dire need of upgrade. You've got an old Windows 10, like a 24H2 box here that's running out of space. So it's maybe time for a refresh in this case, or in some cases it may be, it's time to get them on Windows 11. So just in one snap, having this at your fingertips for your L1, I believe that's invaluable. It is for us to be able to quickly see, and assess what are the recovery keys, what's the state of the device in general. So we're going to kind of dig in further to see, okay, outside of the L1 capabilities for your IT pros, your system administrators, what more? So we talked about the management portal also being somewhat of a hub to get to all of your Dell services, as well as meet you in the middle where you work from. And you told us it's primarily either through Intune or co-managed Intune Config Man. So what we see as today, links at the top, know that this is going to be changing over time. They're going to be adding a lot of capabilities. You saw Matt's slide that was indicating, highlighted green boxes of here's today's state, and you notice the big board of capabilities that are coming. So notice that the layout may change a little bit, but you're going to see a lot more coming into the portal. So I'll just draw attention as we're still on the L1 level and getting into the higher tiers of support, or your IT pros, being able to quickly link out to TechDirect, and then within TechDirect, being able to take advantage of things like your self-healing image recovery or your warranty support, parts dispatches, whatnot. So again, we see the management portal as kind of being this hub that brings together all of the spaces in which you work. So as we go further, more than just a launching pad for things like TechDirect and coming soon peripheral management, there's going to be more capabilities for managed docks and other peripherals like monitors and your mice and headsets. So more coming there. In addition to that, what was called out are some of the apps that are already baked into the management portal that we'll drill into now. So looking at the apps, again, recalling there's going to be a lot more coming to this space. So you see what we've got available right now. You can see that we've got an app published here. So I wanted to take you through what this looks like, what this gives the IT pro. So let's go ahead and publish Dell Command Update, so you get a look at what is this bringing to the table. What value do we get here? So you can see that there's links to more documentation on DCU. There's a publish now link, and so recall from the start of of the discussion where we went through slides saying, okay, you're going to click connect. There's going to be an app registration that is enabling the Dell Management Portal to interact with your Intune tenant. And so when we click publish now, what we're going to see is essentially a graph call being made into your tenant, pushing in an Intune win and the associated there's the associated parameters that go along with it, and we'll go right in there. So it'll prompt you to open up an Intune tab. I already have it up at the Windows apps, and let me just click refresh really quick. So you can see we've got the Dell command suite that had already been created. What was just published to our tenant, just right there on the fly. We just had let me go back to it. Dell command update. So DCU, we're going to go back to apps, and we should see, go back and publish. There we go. Okay, so we see that it's been published. I'll let it, instead of Xing out, I'll let it open up the new tab. Okay, bringing us straight to what was just published. So if we take a look at the properties, we're going to see, we've got, the install string with a silent installation. The uninstall string is populated. And we'll see the detection rule, the MSI product code being used. So at this stage, we've skipped steps for the IT admin having to go to the Dell support page, see, okay, where is the Dell command update, the latest installation? Let me download that. Let me repackage it as an Intune win. Let me then add in the detection rules and all the other pieces to essentially package it. We skipped all of that, and now it's ready for an assignment. So we just cut out a significant amount of time just with a click to click on publish. The other call outs I wanted to make, so back on the portal here, you can see that the status changed to published. You go back to the main cards for all of the applications that we've got. You can see, so we've got a couple now published. So key call out, it wasn't assigned. It's not like there's some, mass push that just occurred. It was packaged for us. It's ready to be either modified or assigned. You notice the Dell command endpoint configure DCECMI. I wanted to call out on this one. You notice it's already published. So there, in addition to the applications, there's also policy associated with them. So I did want to drill into a couple of things. So if you recall, when we went, we took a look at the devices, and we saw things like, oh, this is his BitLocker key, for instance, and the current BIOS password that was set. So obviously, BitLocker key dependent upon your device encryption settings, BitLocker being deployed, and the BIOS password being dependent upon Dell command endpoint config for configuration manager in Intune. So that DCECMI being deployed out to the devices with policy. So that I just wanted to call out, that's a prerequisite step. So again, there's no auto assignment. So when I click publish now, I'm in fear that, oh man, I just, what did I unleash on my environment? Nope, it skips steps for me as far as packaging, and I, as the IT administrator, and now going in and choosing my assignment. So I'm going to pop back over to Intune really quick, and let's refresh and see. So we've got the Dell command update. You noticed I was gun shy there, being very quick. When I didn't see it pop in, there was a timing issue. I just didn't wait. And so we do see 2 instances of Dell command update because I published it twice. I can whack the one. We'll keep the latest that that was published to the tenant, and recall that, okay, it's not assigned. I did want to now call attention to the policy. I just alluded to it earlier. So now, and I do see some hands raised in questions. If let's hang tight, because I've committed to wrapping this by 1/2 past, and then we're going to have Q&A session. Let's rip through the questions. So I encourage you all, type out into chat the questions that you may have, and we'll knock them out. So 2 pieces, again, to call out: the app deployment itself is the next step, and the policy creation and deployment. So I want to go ahead and take a look at the policy. So if we take a look at the configs, and just we can see we've got folks that have been really busy in our test environment. So when we called out a deployment of policy associated with the DC ECMI app, that's really what we're looking at here. So if we take a look at the configs that are associated, what this is, it's essentially CCTK. If we've got some old timers that are on the call. So the CCTK has evolved over time, the client configuration toolkit, to Dell Command Configure, to now being baked in, so that we could deploy a CCTK file directly from Intune. And when we mentioned, hey, there's a prerequisite to be able to get those BIOS passwords surfaced back into the Dell Management Portal, this is it. This is what we're looking at. So you could have a per device, BIOS password set, and you could also deploy a CCTK file to say, I want to, let's say I want to disable LAN, or I want to disable Wi-Fi when connected to LAN, or your specific BIOS configurations. I want to specify secure boot with EFI on for all of my devices. This would be where you would take care of that. And so then obviously, saving and assigning this this policy would be the next piece. The other thing I wanted to jump into is, we published Dell Command Update. So, aside from DC ECMI, now we're talking the Command Update part of the suite of Dell Command tools. So we're going to go back to configuration for it, and we'll take a look at DCU configs. So those of you familiar with Dell Command Update, you may be used to either scripting the installation to feed configuration. So you can literally build a model system, and I'm going to export the XML configs from this model that I want the rest of my fleet to look like. So that's absolutely an option. Or you can have policy assigned from Intune. We'll just take a quick look at this one is not assigned, making sure, even though it's a test environment, making sure I'm not throwing anybody off. So within the policy, we can drill into Command Update. I think I quickly went down into device category, but you can see essentially the policy that can be set. So if you want to determine, I want to disable BitLocker when we've got BIOS updates hitting the machine, that can be set here. Or if I do not want to use the default Dell catalog, I want to specify a custom catalog, that could be used. Or if I wanted to say, I don't want BIOS updates, I only want to see, the driver specific to my hardware, I could go in and enable just that. So this is the point where you would, we'll say, split off from at install time, setting a config with an XML file or a script, and say, I'm going to lay down DCU by way of Intune, and I'm also going to lay down the policy by way of Intune. So when this was first released, one of the first things I wanted to test is, I want that policy down on the machine before DCU even hits it. And I wanted to make sure that, it was kosher. There was no issue. So some of you may be thinking, well, and I don't want it to come down with default, naked, and then the user getting whatever they want until policy hits the machine. So you have every ability to deploy policy first, then deploy the app. And so that way your settings, your config is adhered to, from square one when the app lays down on the machine. So with that, we went through application publishing. We went through the policy configuration and assignment. Know that there's a lot more coming to the portal. I'm going to bounce back really quick. And so what to expect from the dashboard? We're expecting other capabilities such as like pre-curated AI models for different uses, like your text recognition, your images or video. So expect that to build out here. I think I alluded to some of the peripheral management capabilities that are going to be coming that would be accessible by way of the management portal. So again, maybe initially link out just like we see with TechDirect. And we're anticipating some UI capabilities coming wherein the BIOS settings may be configurable directly from the management portal, but a lot more. So the key takeaway here is this is the beginning. It just gets better from here. And know that, I'm one of you. I have very similar needs from my customer, which is the Dell internal employee. So we are always looking at rationalization, consolidation. And I see this is the first great big step into that. So no longer looking at disparate places for, where do I get this app from? Where am I going to get, DCU from today, or DC ECMI? So instead of going to disparate places, got it all in one spot, and we've made the packaging, publishing a lot more convenient. So with that, I think I kept my commitment to keeping this within a 20-minute slot, and I thank you for the time. So
Awesome.
Justin and Matt.
Perfect. Thank you so much, James. It always a lot easier. We can just see it live on the portal. So really appreciate that walkthrough and sharing your expertise from Dell IT. They're the best in the biz. All right, so let me share my screen. We'll transition to our Q&A portion of the call, and happy to answer your questions live. And I've seen a lot coming through the chat, so appreciate all the engagement. All right, so for FAQs, just wanted to knock out a couple easy ones, and then happy to take more from the audience. But one question we see coming in a lot is, does Dell collect or have access to your Intune data? Want to be super clear here. Absolutely not. Answer is no. We do not have any way to see or collect any of your Intune data. All that stays within your Azure tenant on Intune, and it by no way is that coming over to Dell. And so just wanted to give you all that confidence. Dell is not looking or collecting any of that information. And then on initial setup, so if you go to manage.dell.com and click connect now, if it's your first time, you will need that GA level access to approve Dell Management Portal to read and write to your Intune tenant. But then after that, which is really nice, is the Dell Management Portal will respect your RBAC, so role-based permissioning. And if you have different levels within your IT organization, the Management Portal will reflect that level of access. So just mirrors what you already have set up in Intune. And then the last one, which is great, do you have to pay? Is there a subscription for Dell Management Portal? Answer is no, completely free. We're just trying to make it easier to manage Dell PCs from the cloud within Intune, and it encourage you all to go check it out today. So those are the easy FAQs, and now I'll kind of open the floor up and stop the share, and we can kind of work through some of the ones we missed on the chat or in the Q&A.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the chat, and then we'll try and bounce in between. You guys have a lot of great questions everywhere, which is fantastic. So we really, really appreciate it. We'll start back up at the top. So, will the tech work with SSO extra authentication after the integration, or will that TechDirect needs separate access every time?
I can take that one. So that one was specific to TechDirect, and TechDirect does have SSO capability. That's right.
Awesome. Easy. When Dell Command gets new versions, how is supersedence handled?
Looking for that one. Run that one. I'm looking for the question itself. There it is.
I can answer that, James, probably, right? So at this point of time, we support pulling in the newer versions whenever Dell Command Update is available on the Dell support site into Dell Management Portal. But the only thing what we need to do from an IT admin perspective is they need to go to the properties once it is published to Intune and supersede with the app that is available on their Intune thing. The reason why we are not automatically doing is the reason we wanted to give the flexibility to IT administrators to make a choice on which versions they want to supersede the existing version.
Yes, exactly. I caught up where that question was. And yeah, imagine if you click publish and there was automatic supersedence, now you're in panic mode. We wanted you to have the ability to go in and consciously assign, or when it's time to supersede an older deployment, click.
Awesome. And then I'll just pop back towards the Q&A so those don't get too far buried. Are there plans for monitoring within the portal for missing drivers or installed drivers, BIOS, etc.?
I can take this one. Yeah, we are considering roadmap features for update management, update monitoring, and compliance monitoring. So this is under consideration in the roadmap, but not available right now.
Awesome, thank you. Next one from Q&A is, compliance policies specific to BitLocker encryption sometimes flag the drivers for intel from Dell Command as unverified, as the driver is sitting outside the C/W system 32 DIR. Will this also be addressed for DLL integrity?
So I want to try to unpack that one. So compliance policy is specific to BitLocker encryption. So what we're saying is, okay, we've got BitLocker lit up, and in some cases there's tamper protection in place. So what Dell Command Update does is it suspends BitLocker during something like a BIOS update, for instance. But seeing BitLocker coming into play for other drivers that would not have a bearing on is the system going to come into BitLocker recovery mode after a reboot? The suspend does not happen. So outside of that, I'm not seeing an interplay with BitLocker encryption and updates coming by way of DCU.
Awesome, thank you for unpacking that. The next one, kind of a two-parter. So will this portal replace the Dell Central Resource Manager? And will it completely replace TechDirect? I know that's kind of two parts.
No, it won't. So we're planning on further integrations between the management portal and Intune and TechDirect to surface information and capabilities that reside in TechDirect into the portal for easier access and easier jump off points directly into TechDirect. So definitely not a replacement, but you'll be seeing more integrations on that front.
Awesome, thank you. James, I see you typing an answer in there. Do you just want to do that one live?
Yeah, let me do that. So I see do the Dell Intune apps use PowerShell to identify the installed version on the client. So it's using a WMI call to see, okay, within WMI, do I have that MSI product code associated? Yes. Okay, you're installed. So it's by product code. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Popping back to the chat, just making sure we've kind of gone back and answered some of these. There is a question that came in from Thomas where he would like some more clarification on how to pass the BIOS password assigned by DCECMI to the Dell command update so that DCU can update the BIOS.
Got it. So for that one, it would be, so there's a couple of pieces. If you recall from the demo, you can have a unique password automatically generated for each device. So that was one toggle. You can also specify by way of, there's a CCTK file that gets uploaded as part of that policy. So within that file, that's where you can specify if you wanted, let's say, I'm going to set a single password across the fleet, for instance.
Yeah, I think to add to that one too, there is an update coming for Dell Command Update where it's using these like UEFI capsules, similar to how Microsoft does it, to where you can bypass that BIOS password update. And then there's also, if you're really technical with PowerShell scripts, you can also manually do it that way.
Awesome, thank you. Another question that came in is TechDirect was also free, but de facto limited its proactive features only to Pro Support Plus and Pro Support Flex warranties. Is endpoint management somehow related to the support level of the managed endpoint device's serial number having more or less features based on its support level? That one's in the Q&A, so you can dissect it.
Maybe I can take that question, right? No, we do not gate any features that are available in Dell Management Portal at this point of time based on the entitlements or any feature sets that are only available on Pro Support. Currently, this is all available. All features are available to everyone at this point of time.
Thank you. All right, I am just taking a look through the chat and through the Q&A. It looks like we've got most everything answered. So if you're holding on to a question, this is your time to put it in the Q&A, put it in the chat. With these questions that have come in, Matt, James, Jocelyn, is there anything else that you would want to reiterate? I know one on my end is that we got a couple questions about the recording. That recording will be up on Monday on dtuck.com. So the recording will be accessible so you can come back and look at it. If you have more additional questions, you can always reach out to member services at dtuck.com and we will connect you with someone that can appropriately answer your question.
Awesome. I think the only plug I would give is I put in the chat a couple times with that link to dell.com/endpoint management. That has a ton of great information on all of our manageability products. And then if you're looking for the Dell Management Portal specifically, that'll be under the Integrate tab. So go check out. We have additional documentation information there for anything we might have missed today.
Awesome. Thank you. It looks like while we were talking, there's a few other questions. So does this support connect to multiple Intune tenants?
So what I've seen personally, but the managed portal, you're connecting to a single tenant. And I see another, I'm going to answer just a few. Intune has, device cleanup rules. So think of your, BitLocker recovery keys, your BIOS passwords. Those are separate. So we'll go through a scenario wherein you delete a device, or you've got a cleanup rule that scrubs a device out of Intune. Essentially, am I still able to get to that BIOS password and the BitLocker recovery key? Yes, and there's an asterisk there, and that is, if you delete the object out of Azure Active Directory, so deleting the computer object out of Azure, now you're jeopardizing at least the BitLocker recovery key. So that one would not persist. But deleting the object from Intune, that you're going to have persistence of the BIOS password and BitLocker recovery key.
Awesome. Thank you. Another one, so that answered that. We've got, how does Dell act on devices with duplicated names and different users?
So a multi-user scenario. So this is going to go back to default Intune behavior. So you'd have a single device, multiple users associated with it. You'd have a primary user associated with it. That part is not going to change. So you're going to see, like in the devices pane of the management portal, the primary user that's tied to it. And then I'm seeing specifically for cleanup rule removed devices. So specifically, okay, so if you've got a cleanup rule that's removing devices out of Intune, again, that is separate from the Azure object or the Entra object of that device. That persisting is what's going to enable you to continue to search and pull up like your BIOS passwords, your BitLocker passwords. So not to be impacted with the an Intune cleanup rule. So this is for, yeah, be cautious if you're going through your Entra devices and scrubbing a mass out of there. Now you don't have any more records to be able to query. There's one more about Intune if we want to keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay, if we don't, so customer does not have Intune, any other management solutions. Okay, what functions are going to be available on the management portal? So from there, at a minimum, you have one place to find documentation for these capabilities. So think of a standalone capability where you use Dell Command Update, or you would use the client configuration toolkit capabilities. You've got one stop to get information on those, to download those from. You can still find this in one place. And not having Intune, then you could have a more heavy reliance on TechDirect. So you'd use this as your launching pad to get into TechDirect for things like telemetry or self-healing capabilities. Okay, so where you have the last one here, situation, there's multiple records in Entra ID for a device. So having multiple records for a device, you're going to end up seeing multiple records in the device's pane. Yeah, so sorry, they're coming in kind of quick. Combined Dell warranty status in Dell Management Portal. Okay, so the warranty status, so we just barely broached that topic, but we are anticipating more capability coming into the management portal as far as warranty status. It already exists in TechDirect, but that's a future capability that we're looking for is warranty status.
Awesome. I think that covers most of the chat. There's a few more that popped up in the Q&A. So one of those is there a detailed list of permissions the integration gives when connected to our Intune tenant?
There is. So I think Matt, Jocelyn can share that you literally have a screenshot of it. So that is in the deck shared literally within the screenshot.
Beautiful, thank you. And then do you need to import the Dell ADMX/ADML in order to use Dell config profiles?
Correct. That is exactly right. So I did breeze through that to kind of compact it into the window, but that is exactly right. So the ADMX, ADML templates uploaded into Intune that's going to unlock the device configuration profile that you saw me walk through and pick and choose. You know, I want this update type, but not that update type. Yes, that comes by way of the templates.
And I can do a quick screen share. I saw a question come in the chat around Dell Management Portal versus Dell Client Device Manager. Like a visual is probably easiest for that. Hopefully y'all can see that. I'm gonna hit share. Perfect. Okay, so Dell Management Portal, everything we talked about today, that's the portal within Intune to help publish apps in Intune, view information about your fleet, recover BIOS passwords. That's live today, obviously. Dell Client Device Manager, that one's coming out soon, but that is an on-the-box software application. So it would be one of the apps that you would deploy through Dell Management Portal into Intune onto your fleet. And that one's coming soon, so more information to come, but Dell Client Device Manager is an on-the-box application and will have features like updates and security. So be on the lookout for that one. And then there was that question too about access and permissions. So we can look at that one real quick. Let me, I could probably just blow this up. So you can see the different like read and maintain access you're getting when you approve it the first time you log into the Dell Management Portal. All right.
Beautiful, thank you. Looks like we had another one just come in. Does Dell Client Device Manager replace Support Assist for business?
Good question. So all those roadmap and items are still being worked out coming in the future, but I would just think of Dell Client Device Manager as our new consolidated app, and you'll start to see more and more Dell apps converge into Dell Client Device Manager. And so Support Assist could be one of those in the future, but it's still a little early to say. But at launch, you'll see Dell Command Update and Dell Trusted Device coming into Dell Client Device Manager, and then plans down the road to bring in more.
Looks like there was another question, if you wouldn't mind sharing those permissions again. Like I said, this recording will be up, but there might be people, you know, trying to do it right now.
Oh, yeah.
Making sure if they've got the permissions up.
Happy to. And this, these are also in that brochure on the endpoint management website for Dell Management Portal. I could try to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, read user profiles, directory data, BitLocker keys, Intune device configuration and policies, and then perform user impacting remote actions on Intune devices, read Intune devices, read and write Microsoft Intune apps. So that's how we publish the Dell apps into your Intune tenant, and then maintain access to data you have given it access to. And again here, Dell is by no means collecting or able to see any of your Intune data, and we'll make that super explicit in the brochure. I think that update's coming out next week, but just so y'all are confident and comfortable with any data sharing.
Thank you. And then, you know, does the portal log actions taken by users within it, such as looking at BIOS passwords?
So as far as logging, think of it this way. There's no database that's associated with the device management portal that's tied to your tenant. So we're not tracking, you know, okay, your clicks, your passwords, your apps, none of that is being tracked. And there was another DCDM require licensing, never deployed the management tool, some unfamiliar. So again, think of DCDM as this is a suite of tools, some of which are in the management portal. And so the licensing for, you know, will there be licensing required? Potentially for some modules. So that aside, what we've looked at today, for updates, that is not based on a license to be able to download, install, and use that. Okay, and then somebody paste the brochure in. Thank you for that.
I love this engagement. This is awesome.
Yeah, see, I told you when we were setting up, this community loves to ask a lot of questions, and there's a lot of excitement. So, guys, thanks for thanks for backing me up on my promise.
Correct. The last from Josh, not claiming to use the data now. We shouldn't be. Yeah, so there is zero intention to store your data. There's a ton of privacy concerns. Just think of it from the other perspective. To store the customer's data is not what we have in mind at all. We're trying to surface your data back to you, but not storing any of that data.
I can take the question on plans on the roadmap. So we do have a very long list of features that we're evaluating. Some of the things that we're considering most immediately are surfacing warranty information, like James had mentioned. That's on our near-term roadmap. We're also looking at integrations with peripheral management, like James had mentioned as well. We're looking at enabling an interface within the management portal for setting up BIOS configurations and publishing TK files directly into Intune, and also some surfacing additional tools for AI PC computing. So those are some of the immediate things that we have on the roadmap. There's a long list of other things that we're considering, and wanted to reiterate here that please use the survey at the end of this webinar to add in any other features that you see as very high priority or high value to you, because we'll definitely be looking to consider our priorities.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Jocelyn. I mean, I think that's a good segue. Looks like the questions have slowed down, so we might be able to give everybody a little bit time back in their day. Unless there are any other final comments, Matt, James, Jocelyn, anybody else that would like to make. It looks like Matt just came in with one more question. Is there a way to combine Dell Command Update Intune and the Dell Management Portal to make it so that with a vanilla reinstallation of Windows on a fresh new system, the correct drivers for the machine get pushed and installed automatically, and our BIOS configurations, complete with settings and passwords, get pushed? Anybody want to take that one?
Probably I'll give it a try. So you can log into Dell Management Portal, then you can push Dell Command Update. Dell Command Update now automatically installs the drivers which are not available, especially in the vanilla case. Or you can also use the ADR functionality, which is exposed from Dell Command Update, which will install all the primary necessary drivers required for a vanilla installation so that you're there. And the second part of the question, I think you also wanted automatically install the BIOS configuration. So you may have to use Dell Command Endpoint Configure to have it in the policy, or if you are already a user of Dell Command Endpoint configuration, you will have that policy. You just have to assign the device group or user group so that, with the intent of required, so that it just goes and applies on it.
And that's also a good segue into the ready image and the self-healing image restore. So the way that I see it is, let Dell manage that vanilla image and drivers for you, and the reimage process by way of BIOS connector, or what we call Excalibur internally.
Awesome, thank you. I'm seeing one other question, and that is, does the information in Dell Management Portal get used for support tickets in TechDirect?
So at this time, that type of integration is not available in the management portal, but that's one of the types of integrations that we're looking at in the future.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of thanks, a lot of appreciation for this content. So just a reminder for everybody, this recording will go up on Monday on dtuck.com, so you will have more access to it. You can come back, Alex. I see one more question. So I think your question is more along the lines of, who can you go to help with new tools and implementation? Matt, Jocelyn, James, do you guys have an answer for that one?
Why don't we take that one down to follow up with? Because yeah, I'm not familiar with the latest R's and R's over in EMEA, but yeah, we can follow up with that one for who a good contact is for technical support.
Absolutely. So we will get back to you, I promise. I will connect you with the proper team, I promise, Alex. But with that, any other final thoughts? It looks like we've got one more that just came in the Q&A. Can you adopt all the Dell tooling into a pre-provisioning of an autopilot laptop?
So that is absolutely, that's absolutely capability there. So for instance, the command update that we were looking at, could that be specified in your enrollment status page and say, I'm going to hold the autopilot process here until that is finished installing? Yes. And there was one more that I'll jump on. Will DCDM replace Dell command update? So ultimately, the jury is out if DCU is going to continue to live on as a standalone product just in and of itself. The decisions are being made, but ultimately we do see things like DCU folding in and becoming a module that could be deployed by way of what we're referring to as DCDM. So it's another module. Think of it that way. Not necessarily DCU gone. DCU has changed and become a module of a broader set of tools.
Yeah, that's perfect. You can think of it as like it's not really an EOL. It's just Dell Command Update now just lives in Dell Client Device Manager. It's the exact same app, all the same features. All your scripts will still work. It just now lives in Dell Client Device Manager. And as far as legacy standalone, I think we're still thinking through those transition and timelines, but nothing on the immediate term because we know that tool is very popular and we don't want to surprise anybody. But yeah, think of Dell Client Device Manager as just consolidating these apps and bringing them in. And so we're not taking away any features or functionality. We're just making it easier to deploy from Intune.
Awesome.
And yeah, I heard you loud and clear. DCU is a popular one.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, this was fantastic. A lot of great information. I mean, people clearly really appreciate it. So we are coming up on time. Everyone's saying thank you for the presentation. I hope you all have a fantastic day. And if you have any other questions, please reach out to member services at dtuck.com. Alex, I know I owe you some information, so I will get you that information. I will do my best to connect you with the right people. But James, Jocelyn, Matt, really appreciate you guys. This was awesome. We might need to have you come back for more since we took up the full hour. So we might get another one on the books. And if there's anything else, anybody Mr. Beast to this presentation? Awesome. Love it. Love the feedback. Do you guys have any final things you would like to say to the community before we close out for the day?
Thank you so much. This is great. Really appreciate the engagement.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for the opportunity.